Today's saying: if your goal is to get out here and just be comfortable, chances are you'll never be rich. But if your goal is to be rich, chances are you might end up very comfortable. All about semis. Stay tuned for this finance class.
What it is. Test. Well, how about the drivers and mechanics? Sitting here rolling, and I was like, you know what? Time to get back to the good stuff and the basics. I've had a lot of thoughts while I was sitting here on the road, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start spitting this stuff out before I forget a lot of it. So, the topic of this video is, and being successful of trucking is understanding debt and how to spend money and understanding money. Because believe it or not, a lot of people really don't know how to, let me move this out of the way. A lot of people don't understand how to spend money and understanding what debt is. And my philosophies about a lot of things are different when it comes to debt and when it comes to money. Hence the reason I like to think why I'm so successful at what I do, when I do anything. Do I know it all? No, but I know what I know, and I know what I'm educated in. And I try not to put things out there that I'm not educated in. And that's pretty much it, So without straying too far off, this video ain't going to be for everybody. A lot of people are not even going to be able to relate. So if that's you, apologies. But in business, there's some things that are for people and there's some things that are not. What do I mean by that? Everybody can't be owners. Everybody just can't be business people. Everybody can't be entrepreneurs. You need some people to clean the bathrooms. We need those bathroom cleaners. We need those, maintenance people. Everybody has to be in their respective places. And sometimes people want to be, but they're not cut out for it. And that's the first part of being an entrepreneur, is knowing where you fit in. Because if I'm going to be a bathroom cleaner, then I'll be the person that owns the bathroom cleaning company. I'll just be a good cleaner, because there's some damn good cleaners out there, But a whole nother video, a whole nother topic. I don't want to, give people the wrong impression about where I'm going with this. So the first part is understanding how to spend money, and understand how to spend money. You got to understand debt. What is debt? A lot of people think that when you're in debt, you're just, it's a bad thing, and you don't have money and you're in debt. No, that's not the case. Debt is when you can't pay back something you owe. If you take $100,000 loan out to buy an apartment building or whatever, rental property, and you take that $100,000 out and you owe the bank $100,000, are you in debt? And most people that do that, they normally have another income or job or whatever the case may be. This is just their business venture. Are they in debt? No, if they're paying the loan back and they're generating income from that property or that investment, whatever it may be, they're not in debt. That's why banks ask you, what is your debt to ratio when you go for a loan? Because they don't look at all debt as being bad debt. That'll probably be covered in another video. So when you understand debt and what it is, you will understand how to spend money. I didn't learn how to spend money from, you know, my grandparents and parents because they really didn't understand it either back then. Things were different, you know? And unfortunately, you can't learn about money in school. Like they didn't teach that in school when I was coming up. They taught how to get jobs and you know, when I say how to get jobs, what I mean is when you go to school or go to college, you learn how to work in somebody else's corporation. You learn a certain set of skills. Case in point, people go to school for business. Well, just because you go to school for business don't mean that you understand money and doesn't teach you about money. It teaches you a set skill base to be successful in operating a business. And what are some of those things that you teach in business or learn in business? Well, glad you asked. One of those things are number one, marketing, which has nothing to do with about money, and you might learn accounting, which teaches you how to run books and things of that nature. It doesn't really teach you about the dollar. What am I talking about when I say how to spend money? Some people, case in point, here we go. I'm trying to think about this stuff, guys, and make it in simple and plain form so that everybody that's watching this video can understand. Most people, what they do is they get their money and they pay their bills, right? And they take whatever's left for themselves. What successful people do, rich people do, it's a little different. What I do is when my bills come in that I know I have to pay, I'm kind of feel like I'm jumping ahead. Let me go back to some more examples. So most people, they'll take the money come in, they'll pay their bills, right? Some things you gotta pay anyway, regardless. No matter what you do, you gotta buy food, groceries, um, rent, mortgage, whatever you got, car payment. You pay that stuff, you go in your bank account, you pay it, the money's gone. How I think is, how can I pay some of this stuff and protect my money? Because you save up money so you can have a cushion, but you know you got to buy things. So here's what I do. Certain bills I know I got to pay. Instead of taking that money and paying it with my, money I got in my bank, I'll either one or two things. I'll pay it on a credit card, I'll put it on automate, and I'll pay my credit card at the end of the month off. Because remember, I have the money to buy the stuff that I'm going to buy because these are things I got to buy every month. Right? Strategies here. Strategies is what I'm giving you. So instead of doing that, I use that credit card. We'll come back to why. Or I'll take a secured loan out. Some banks call it a pledge loan, like my bank. And I'll give the bank that money, and I'll pay the bill with that money. Just in doing that, I have effectively protected my initial money that I have, and I've also created a cashback inflow of money to myself. How did I do that? Okay, well, let's go back to the credit card. Because how I think is, how can I spend my money to protect my money? So with the credit card, now I got a credit card where I earn money back on my grocery purchases, food purchases, and certain other bills. I get credit back, get money back. Whether it's 1%, 2%, each particular category is going to give you a different amount of money back at the end of the month. So now, yeah, I paid the credit card off, but I got cash back and also kept my credit utilization, which brings my credit up. Got a call coming in. I'm going to have to cut this short, guys. We'll continue in a minute.
So, sorry about that. interruption on the last vid. I just actually shut down. I'm in Indiana now, and my delivery is at 7 in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Boy, I'm glad that APU running, man, because it's muggy up here, man. I didn't want to idle the truck, so I don't know if y'all can hear that hum, but that thing is music to my ears back there running. But moving right along, I was talking about the credit card and how I utilize that. So by doing that, what do you call paying that way, I accomplished two things. And one, I said it keeps usage on the card. Two, it saves me from having to save or spend my money that I actually have. Three, remember those cash back and those points for normal things like groceries and gas and whatnot, those points back. And I'm gonna tell you something about those points. I was skeptical about when they be trying to sell you on that, but I don't think I posted the video, but like last month or the month before, I actually cashed out $250 worth of points that I had, and I used that money to take a trip, take my family, to Orlando. Well, really it was for the kids, take the kids out and let them go to fun spot up there and do some rides and chill out. And that's what I use that money for, and it's just like your pilot card or your Love's card, except you're getting points for spending what you got to buy anyway. Well, why not actually get money for that stuff? So that's what I do with a lot of the bills that I have to pay anyway. I put on those cards, man, and utilize that and get that money back. Same thing with the loans. I'll do the same thing with the loans, with the secured loans or the pledge loans. I'll pay the bill with that. And then what happens is you give the bank that money, they take it. For those of you that don't understand how it works, they take that money, then they give you the same amount right back to you, and you use that money to pay your bills, be it again your car note, your mortgage, or whatever. And you don't have to do it every month, just sometimes is good enough. But I try and be consistent with it. The key is when you do that, you take that money, pay the mortgage, right, or the truck payment, whatever, and then what happens as you pay that every month, whatever amount that you pay is released back to your savings account within a day or two. So let's say, and the interest is really low on those pledge loans. It's really low. It's like 1.2% or something like that with my bank. So your payment, I'm throwing out numbers here. Your truck payment's $2,000. You take the $2,000, give it to your bank. They give you the $2,000 back. You pay your payment when your next month come in. It might be only, I think mine was like $60 on $2,000, not even for the month, but I paid $100. So when I paid that $100, 2 days later, the $100 is back in my account minus the 1.something%. So it was like $90-something I got back. Here's where the magic happens. So you're paying that every month. It's accumulating. So you already know your next month is going to be under $100. Well, you got $100 in there. So I use the same money to pay next month's bill. You see? And it just let it compound, because you don't want to pay the loan right off, because the goal here is you're going to establish, not only does it establishes a credit profile, which helps you, it also helps to diversify your credit accounts. Because if you guys know what banks look at, they look at your diversification of your credit. So in essence, a credit card affects your credit score a certain way. A car loan affects your score a certain way. A personal loan, secure loans. So when they look at that and they say, oh man, this person he has a credit card, he has a personal loan, he's got a car loan, those things look good to banks. So effectively, you're doing all this anyway, and you're paying yourself back, because when you pay that money back, it's your money anyway. You don't want to cheat yourself, but you should have an initiative to pay it, because you're not technically losing the money. So when it's paid off, not only does it look good, and you got your own money back. And here's the other thing about it. But when you do the secured loan, you don't want to pay it all off right away. I would carry, what I would do is I would hold it for about 5 or 6 months, keep paying it regular like that, and then maybe in that 5th or 6th months, I'll go ahead and pay it off, because you want to create credit history with those loans, because they're not going to do you no good if you pay them right off. Just like when people take their credit card, they use and they pay it right off. Well, that's good and bad. You want to show a little bit of history there. That's why it's more important with a credit card to make the payments on time versus the longevity of it. Now, the older the card is, it changes and it starts building, looking even better. But they're more concerned about the payment history, if you ever noticed that with a credit card. But topic for another video, because we're talking about how to spend money and how to utilize your money so that you don't really lose your money. So that's some of the techniques right there as to how to learn how to spend money. Because if you can't spend your money, you don't understand how to spend it, you'll never keep it. And one of the things I've learned, I'm not telling you not to enjoy your money, because you need to buy things for yourself, and I think that's a motivator. If you're not treating yourself, then why you want to do it? What's going to promote you to want to keep doing it? I'm not telling you not to buy those cup of coffee every morning, or eat out every now and again, because I think you should do that. I'm talking about where it matters in business, where it matters. Start thinking of those strategies to protect your money. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't even have that concept as to how to protect their money. They're just spending their money because they need this, they need that. And then if you understand how to spend your money, you would actually cut a lot of the debt. Case in point, you get into the trucking, you got your truck payment, and next thing you know, especially when you open your own authority, man, everybody contacting you, want to sell your stuff, and we'll provide this service, we'll provide that service. You're buying, renting a place to park, and you're doing all this stuff, and then next thing you know, you created a lot more debt that you really don't need, and you're paying off of it, and your business is making money. And the next thing you know, it's like, okay, we're making money, and this is how people always find themselves breaking even, because you created this debt that you really didn't need, because you didn't know that you didn't need all this stuff, because you didn't really do enough research to really know what you need. Now your business is breaking even, and you're trying to pay those debts down, and it becomes a snowball, because you depending on how long it takes you to realize what's going on, you're throwing money out the door. If I had known half of what I known when I first got into business in general, I could have saved myself a hell of a lot of money. So this is why these things are critical. Another key factor on how to spend money. Okay, I'll tell you what I did when I first started. Again, I came in with a little bit of money to start. So I said, well, how can I do this and make this work without exhausting my money? Because what's the key factors when you first start? You're trying to be, you're so worried about the truck breaking down, you're worrying about unseen costs. That's most people's fear right there. So I wanted to figure out, how can I get into this and properly spend my money and make it work? I almost went to the bank, almost went to the dealer and just tried to finance a truck, or go to one of these places and finance a truck and do it like that. And then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. So what I opted to do was I went to the bank and took out a personal loan, and I went and paid for my truck cash. Found the truck I wanted. This is why it's good to be mechanically inclined, or know somebody that you can trust to go over your stuff for you. But I went, found my truck, and I paid cash for it. Effectively, giving myself protection. How did I do that? Well, if I default on the loan, guess what? That's between me and the bank. Ain't nobody coming to take the truck. I knew that the truck will be able to make money And I knew that was the heart of the business. So I didn't want to go and take a loan, and I'm stepping out here and I don't even know if this is going to work. And next thing you know, I messed my credit up because my truck got repoed and I still owe the bank. I had money, so it was like, okay, let me just keep my money and do that. My bank gave me the money, no problem. And if push came to shove, I could have still did the secure loan and I would have just been paying myself back. Now, in that sense, I had a secure blanket because I didn't have to spend my truck money. That was huge. That was huge. So now I had a hell of a blanket just in case a major repair happened and I needed that money. I could work and make it work. And this was all before I went to Landstar, So when I got to Landstar and I started making the money, lo and behold, the residue of that was the truck was making great money, so it was paying the loan off, and I still didn't have to use that money that I had for the truck to pay the loan back. Another residue of that is this. Because it was a signature loan, the interest was a lot cheaper. Had I went and did that $1,400 a month payment, or $1,500, whatever it been, because most truck payments range between $1,500, $1,400 to $2,000 a month. We talking monthly here. I'm not talking about the leasing where you're paying every week. I would have been paying $1,500 or so a month. By doing it that way, my loan payment back to the money I had to pay was only just over $500 a month. A month. The truck was paying that with no problem. Protect your money. Learn how to spend your money to protect your money. This is the whole piece of the pie right here. I know I'm cramming a lot of this. I'm gonna have to break this down in the series, but because I want to get back to the being successful here, on this channel. But that's how you do it. You have to, number one, understand how to spend money. And a lot of people don't know how to spend money. I mean, I apply that to every aspect of my life. If I don't need something, I'm not a slave to luxury. I don't need to have, the newest and the greatest. I don't need to have that. I got a different goal. I got a different figure. And when I come out, I don't come out thinking about, how I'm going to run and all that. I think about how can I come out here so I don't have to come out here next week. And this is why I'm able to take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month off. Because again, it goes back to those numbers and knowing your number, and I'll talk about that in another video, and I'll touch that in another video. But I will end the video with this. A lot of guys get caught up in the rate per mile, and I'm not running that for this and I'm not running that for that. Okay, yeah, you should have a certain amount of rate per mile that you need to run your truck. I had somebody comment on somebody else's channel about something I said, and I had told the guy, I know that my minimum for me to run my truck, minimum, is $1.80. And the person said, well, did he say $1.80? That's what's wrong, why rates are messed up and guys are out here running for cheap freight. Let me ask you something. Is $1.80 really bad when you don't have to split it with nobody? Is $1.80 really a bad rate when you have zero payments, zero truck payments, zero, you're kind of debt free? My situation ain't your situation, So what I'm getting at was, at the end of the day, you need to know what your number is. If you focus on your number, like I know I need to be $7 or $8 grand a week. That's what I shoot for, so I can be comfortable. That's good for me for 2 weeks. What I mean? My monthly expenses, are pretty straightforward here. I know what mine are, so I know how I can run. This is why they tell you to have 3 to 6 months of income, so you can put away so you can function. And if you can't, here's my philosophy, is that if you can't take time off, significant time off, if you need it, And you're just somebody that owns a job. You can't really consider it a business if you can't walk away from it and it can function without you. Now, what that means is, can that business survive if you park your truck for a month? You can be the only employee, that's okay. But you should still be able to be in business, meaning you're still paying your insurance, you're still paying your truck payments, you're still paying the stuff. You just might not be operating, but the business is still a business. Because if you go out of business, it's not a business. So I'm speaking to that point of it. I have enough put away where I can park my truck for a couple months if I need to, and come back to it, and my household and everything else is going to be taken care of. That's where you need to get to. Now, if you start adding employees and all that kind of stuff, that's great. That's great. But we're speaking to a business, because a business by law is a licensed entity that's conducting commerce. Is a business, whether it's one person or not. So I'm speaking to it that way. If you can't walk away from it, then it's a job that you own. And that's just the facts. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video. And we'll pick up with this from another standpoint, maybe tomorrow. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. This is your boy Q Deezy, the Double Easy. Another episode all about semis. I'm out.